lesson. My name's Ashley and I wanted to talk to you about an assessment we use called the CELF Preschool 3, also abbreviated as the CELF P3. It's a tool that helps us understand your child's language skills and how they're developing compared to children their age. It looks at different areas of language such as understanding words and sentences, using words and sentences to express their ideas, and then it also looks at how they combine words, follow directions, and answer questions. It's designed specifically for preschool age children, and it helps us see both their strengths and then areas where they may need more support. During the assessment, we're going to do some fun activities. There's going to be some picture-based tasks, repeating sentences, and then also answering simple questions. We try to make it feel natural so your child can show us what they know without feeling too pressured. How does that sound? Good? Okay, let's get started. All right, so we're gonna look at some pictures and I'm gonna have you either say some things or point to them. Let's look at these pictures. I'm going to point to the picture that shows I can eat this. Now you try one. Point to the picture that shows it smells good. Great, that flower smells good. Let's try some more. Look at these pictures. Point to the boy has a ball. Here is the boy has a ball. Great job. Here are some more pictures. Point to the picture I tell you about. Point to the boy is sleepy. Point to the bear is in the basket. Point to the girl is running. Point to the boy is not writing. Point to the spotted puppy is in the box. Point to they like to bake cookies. Point to they play with a little ball. Point to the baby will find the doll. Point to the girl has a big spotted black and white dog. Point to she is climbing and he is swinging. Point to the boy is being followed by his cat. Point to she can get the book. Point to the girl who is standing in front of the line is wearing a backpack. Point to the woman who is holding the baby dropped her purse. Good job, keep working hard. I'm going to show you some pictures and say some things about them. I want you to help me by finishing some of the things I say. Let's try one. Here is a boy, and here is a girl. Now you try one. Finish what I say. This boy is standing. This boy is
sitting.
This girl has 2 cats. This girl has 2
dogs.
Here are some more pictures. Listen to what I say about each picture and help me finish what I say. Here is a girl playing. Here is a girl.
Laying.
Can you say it in a different way? Here is a girl playing. Here is a girl.
Sleeping.
The doll is out of the box. The doll is
In.
Here is a baby. The baby is crawling. Here is a girl. The girl is
Walking.
The hat is under the chair. The hat is
On.
She is waving at him. He is waving at
Her.
Here is a shoe. It is small. Here is a shoe.
It's medium.
This cat is his. This dog is
The girls.
Here is one horse. Here are two.
Horse.
This is a dog. Whose food is it?
The cat. It's her cat.
Here, Jessie is giving a present to her. Here, Jessie is giving a present to.
To her.
All right, you're working so hard. Keep it up. Look at this picture. This is a bird. Look at this picture. What is this?
Talk.
Now look at this picture. What is the baby doing?
Equine.
Here are some more pictures. I will point to each picture and then you can tell me what you see or what is happening in the picture. What is this?
Carrot.
What is the girl doing?
She riding a bike.
What is this?
The tall.
What is this?
Water.
What is this?
Dumbawa.
What is this?
Triangle.
What is he doing?
He pulling.
What is this person called?
He works for the hospital guy.
What is this?
Zipper.
What part of the elephant is this?
And that's his teeth.
What is this?
It's like you put things inside of it, maybe? I don't know.
What is he doing?
He'd opening the present up.
What is this?
It looks like Bigfoot.
What is this?
That's a tree.
What is this?
That's like a bike or something.
Okay. You're giving me good effort. Let's keep it up.
Yes.
To tell you to do some things. First, I will say something and you will listen, and then you can try to do what I say. Are you ready?
Yes.
Point to your head. Good job. Point to your foot. Point to your eye. Point to your mouth. Now I'm going to tell you some more things to do. This time I will say go when I want you to point. Do not point until I say go. Ready? Point to your nose. Go. Good job. Point to your ear. Go. Point to your hand. Go. Great job. Let's try some more. Do not point until I say go. Listen carefully. Point to your foot, then point to your head. Go. Here is a picture of a monkey. Listen to what I say first, and then you can point to the picture. Remember to wait until I say go. Ready? Point to the monkey's eye. Go. Point to the monkey's nose. Go. Point to the monkey's mouth, then point to his hand. Go. Point to the monkey's foot, then point to his head. Go. Look at these animals. Point to the cat. Point to the turtle. Point to the elephant. Point to the monkey. Point to the tiger. Great. Here are some more animals. Now I will say go when I want you to point. Do not point until I say go. Ready? Point to the dog. Go. Point to the fish. Go. Point to the bear. Go. Point to the giraffe. Go. Point to the bird. Go. Good job. Look at these pictures. There are big animals and little animals. Point to the little cat. Go. Point to the big monkey. Go. Good. Now look at this picture. Point to the dog, then point to the monkey. Go. Let's point to the dog, and then let's point to the monkey. Let's try some more. Remember to point to the pictures in the order that I tell you. Do not point until I say go. Listen carefully. Point to the tigers. Go. Point to the giraffe, then point to the monkey. Go. Point to the big cats. After you point to the dog, point to the cat. When I point to a tiger, you point to a giraffe. Go. Okay. I'm so proud of you. You're working so hard. I'm going to to say something to you. I want you to listen carefully and say exactly what I say. Let's try one. The dog is eating.
The dog is eating.
Good job. Let's try another one. Remember to listen carefully and say exactly what I say. What is in the box?
What is in the box?
Let's try some more. Remember to listen carefully and say exactly what I say. He is nice.
He is nice.
Ball is in the box.
Ball in box.
They play with blocks.
They play blocks.
The cat is sleeping on the pillow.
Cat sleeping on pillow.
The baby has a soft blanket.
Baby have soft blanket.
I wash my hands with soap and water.
I wash hands with soap and water.
Eat the apples?
Didn't boys eat apples?
Was the teacher followed by the children?
Was the teacher followed the children?
Okay. Good job repeating what I said. Look at these children. This is a baby. The baby is little. This is a girl. She is big. And this is a boy, and he is big too. Look at the children again. I'm going to point to the one who is little. Look at these pictures. Point to the one who is sad. Great, that boy is sad. Here are some more pictures. Point to the one that is inside. Point to the one who is pointing up. Point to the one that is empty. Point to the one who is first. Point to the one that is not sleeping. Point to the one that shows many. Point to the one who is tall. Point to the one that is long. Point to the one that is full. You're working really hard. We're going to be done soon. I'm going to say some words and show you some pictures. Two of the words go together. Look and listen as I say the words. Bread, shoe, apple. Bread, shoe, apple. Bread and apple are two words that go together the best. Try one. Two of these words go together. Look and listen carefully to the words I say, then tell me the two words that go together best. Cat, lamp, dog.
Cat, lamp.
Listen carefully as I say the words again. Cat, lamp, dog. Cat and dog go together the best. Let's try some more. Remember, you are going to tell me the two words that go together best. Clock, paintbrush, paint.
Clock and painter both go on the wall.
Listen carefully as I say the words again. Clock, paintbrush, paint. Paintbrush and paint go together the best. Here are some more pictures. Remember, tell me the 2 words that go together best. Blanket, brick, pillow.
Pillow and brick.
Book, shovel, bucket.
The book and the shovel are not round.
Key, door, box.
The box and door.
Fork, pencil, crayon.
Fork and crayon.
Pants, toothbrush, coat.
Pants and toothbrush.
Okay. I'm going to say 2 words. Listen. Pancake. I can put these 2 words together to make the word pancake. Now you try it. Put these 2 words together. Rainbow.
Rainbow.
Let's try another one. Put these 2 words together. Backyard.
Backyard.
Let's do some more. Put these 2 words together to make one word. Bedroom.
Bedroom.
Inside.
Inside.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses.
Flower pot.
Flower pot.
Now I'm going to say parts of a word very slowly. Kitten. When I put the parts together, I get the word kitten. Now you try it. Put these parts together to make a word. Paper.
Paper.
Good. Let's try another one. Put these parts together to make a word. Chicken.
Chicken.
Let's do some more. Put these parts together to make one word. Candy.
Candy.
Puppy.
Puppy.
Elephant.
Elephant.
Bicycle.
Bicycle.
Now let's try something different. Clap your hands like this. Clap one more time just like me. Now I'm going to clap every time I say a word. Listen carefully and watch me. I like cats. I clapped 3 times, 1 time for each word. Now you try it. Say, we sing, and clap each time you say a word.
We sing.
Great. We sing has 2 words, so you clapped 2 times. Try another one. Say, I play, and clap each time you say a word.
I play.
See me.
See me.
Clap each time you say a word. He plays games.
He play games.
Cats are soft.
Cats are soft.
I like to eat cake.
I like to eat cake.
Now I'm going to clap for each part of the word I say. Listen carefully and watch me. Table. Now you try. Say bunny and clap for each part in bunny.
Bunny.
Great. Bunny has 2 parts, so you clapped 2 times. Let's try another one. Say Open and clap for each part in open.
Open.
Open has 2 parts, so you clapped 2 times. Let's try some more. Say the word and clap for each part of the word. Cookie.
Cookie.
Apple.
Apple.
Butterfly.
Butterfly.
Banana.
Banana.
Now let's do something else. The words nap and cap rhyme. They sound the same at the end of the word. Nap and mop don't rhyme because they don't sound the same at the end of the word. Now you try. Do these words rhyme? Cat, hat.
Yes.
Do these words rhyme? Seat, meat.
Yes.
Let's do some more. Do these words rhyme? Cake, lake.
Yes.
Let's do some more. Do these words rhyme? Cake, lake.
No.
Do these words rhyme? Bib, sick.
No.
Do these words rhyme? Nut, hut.
No.
Do these words rhyme? Sit, bit. Just a couple more. You're doing great. Now let's do something else with rhyme. A word that rhymes with fan is man. Another word that rhymes with fan is can. Now you try. What is a word that rhymes with cap?
Cat.
No, cap and cat don't rhyme, but tap rhymes with cap. What is a word that rhymes with pen?
Pet.
No, pen and pen don't. Pen and pets don't rhyme, but hen rhymes with pen. Let's do some more. Tell me a word that rhymes with hat.
Cap.
Tell me a word that rhymes with book.
Bat.
Tell me a word that rhymes bed.
Bet.
Tell me a word that rhymes with top.
Bottom.
I'm going to tell you a story. Look at the pictures and listen carefully to what I say. I'm going to ask you to tell me the story when I'm finished. Go ahead and open. Okay. This story is called No Juice. It is lunchtime. Tim and Sally are helping Mom make lunch. Mom asks Tim to get cheese and juice from the refrigerator. Tim says, "I can't find them." Mom does not have everything she needs to make lunch. Everyone gets in the car to go to the grocery store. Mom says, "Put on your seatbelts." When they get to the store, Mom asks Alex to push the cart. Then she gets out her grocery list. Mom says, "We need juice." Tim says, "I will get it." Sally walks up to Tim and sees him on the ground. She says, "What happened to you?" "I heard Grandma's voice and I turned around to look for her. Then I fell and dropped the juice," he says. "You must have heard another voice. Grandma is not here," says Sally. The manager of the grocery store cleaned up the mess and gave Tim a new bottle of juice. Tim looks over at Mom and says, "I will get cheese for you." Tim goes to get cheese and Sally follows him. Tim cannot hold the items because they are so heavy. He asks Sally, "Will you carry the cheese and juice?" Sally reaches for them and she asks, "Can you hold the mustard?" They both walk over to Mom's cart. "I will put these in the cart if we have room," says Sally. Tim wants to sit in the cart. "You can't sit in the cart because you are too big," says Mom. Just then, everyone sees Grandma walking toward them. "I looked for you, but I couldn't find you," says Tim. "Let's go home and you can eat lunch with us," says Mom. Everyone helps by carrying a bag of groceries inside. I can't wait to have Grandma come to our house, says Alex. I'm very happy that we saw you at the store. Now we can have lunch together, says Mom. That was a good book. Now it is your turn to tell me the story. Look at the pictures and tell me what you see.
Bag.
You see a bag? What else do you see?
Bread.
Bread. What else?
Green.
Green, maybe a green bottle. Now what happened in the story?
Rock.
Rock.
Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Water.
Water. What is happening here?
Car drive.
Mm-hmm. They are driving in the car. What's happening here? You don't know? That's okay. What's happening here?
Apple.
Another apple. What is he doing?
Run.
Mm-hmm. What happened?
Fall.
Mm-hmm. Who did they find at the store?
Mom.
Mm-hmm. Who else?
Mom.
Mm-hmm. What happened at the end of the story?
Rock. Shoe.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're all done. Great job. All right, Mom, I just wanted to meet with you to go over the scores of the CELF P3. Chase did a great job during administration. So with the test, we administer various subtests. So the first one is sentence comprehension, then we have word structure, expressive vocabulary, following directions, recalling sentences, basic concepts, word classes, phonological awareness, which is like sounds, descriptive pragmatics profile, which is like how they engage socially, and then their pre-literacy rating scale, which is like the building blocks up to reading. So the first score we're going to go over is called the core language score, which consists of sentence comprehension, word structure, and expressive vocabulary. So on this specific portion, the core language score, Chase achieved a standard score of 78, and the average range for a standard score is 85 to 115. So with a score of 78, Chase is falling mildly below the average with the core language, so sentence comprehension, word structure, expressive vocabulary. And then we also from this can calculate percentile rank. So 50th percentile is average, and for this specific portion, Chase scored within the 7th percentile, meaning that he scored better than 7% of his peers. However, 93% of his peers are performing better in this core language area. Okay? I know this stuff may be hard to hear, but once I get through it all, we'll talk about some recommendations on how we can best support them, okay? So next, we're looking at the receptive language index, which looks at sentence comprehension, following directions, and basic concepts. So for this portion, Chase achieved a standard score of 71, putting him moderately below the average, okay? And then he was ranked in the 3rd percentile, meaning that he performed better than 3% of his peers. And then next we'll go on to expressive language index, which consists of word structure, expressive vocabulary, and recalling sentences. And in this specific portion, Chase achieved a standard score of 76, putting him also again moderately below the average, and then he was ranked in the 5th percentile. The next portion we're going to look at is language content index, and this includes expressive vocabulary, following directions, and basic concepts. So Chase achieved a standard score of 72 for this portion, again putting him moderately below the mean, and then he was also ranked in the 3rd percentile for this one. Just a few more. Next, we're going to look at language structure index. So he achieved a standard score of 72, putting him moderately below the mean, and then he was also ranked again in the 3rd percentile. And then for academic language readiness index, this looks at expressive vocabulary, following directions, and the descriptive pragmatic social profile, and he achieved a standard score of 73, putting him again moderately below the mean, and he was ranked in the 4th percentile for that. And then we have this very last one, the early literacy index. He achieved a standard score of 86, and that puts him at average range, and then he was ranked in the 18th percentile, which also points to average range. So I just wanted to let you know that with these scores, we also calculate confidence intervals. So I'm telling you he achieved a standard score of, let's say, 78, but there's a range to that. So that's not a definitive answer, it's just our best guess. So on this sheet, you'll see ranges like he achieved a standard score of 78, but we are 95% confident that it can fall between 70 and 86. So there's a little bit of variety there, okay? I know that was a lot of information and it may be hard to digest and feel overwhelming, but the positive in this is that we now have a link between your concerns and what the test revealed. So you had initially let me know that you really desire for your son to be more understandable. And if we look at the test, we look at his language structure index and language content, and those are falling moderately below average. So with this information, with this assessment, it's just one piece of the puzzle. This is not definitive that he will always have these issues, because the great thing is now we can use this to qualify him for services and support him and your family in the best ways that we can. So having administered the CELF P3 to a friend, I naively thought that in the manual, if it stated you can cue or you cannot cue, then that just applied to the entire test. But what was interesting on the CELF P3 was that each different subtest had different directions on whether you could cue, whether you could not, what level of cue, how many times. So that was interesting. I found that relaying the test results to the hypothetical caregiver can be a little difficult, just because it feels like you are just, in my case, giving them all of the bad news like at one time and just like flooding them with all of this overwhelming information. This test was very hard to score. It took me a long time, but I think I have it figured out. I feel good having administered the CELF P3 because I've heard that it's used a lot in early intervention, which is something that part of the field that I hope to get into. So I think that taking the time to score it was helpful, and hopefully in the future I'll be quicker with it. What else? Areas of growth. Yep, definitely need to grow in scoring and then also interpreting. Like, I have the idea of what standard scores mean and percentile rank and confidence interval. I know what they mean, but I think if I keep becoming more familiar with them, then it'll be like second nature to say, oh, they scored a 78, they're mildly below. They scored a 72, they're moderately below. But overall, I think this assessment simulation was very helpful in gaining experience with these assessments.